Hello, my name is Harrison Midkiff, and I wanted to do an overview of the LogRhythm solution. Let's dive right in. LogRhythm was founded back in 2002 by two gentlemen by the name of Chris Peterson and Phil Valola. Those two gentlemen are still at LogRhythm today and are highly involved in key people in developing the LogRhythm solution. Our corporate headquarters is based in Boulder, Colorado, and all of our research and development is done there. Currently, we're about 700 employees, and we're continuing to grow. And we have numerous patents on the LogRhythm solution, primarily around our advanced intelligence engine. We also have a number of top-tiered investors involved in LogRhythm, and their key goal, along with ours, is continuing to grow the LogRhythm solution and make it a better solution in the industry right now. Now, what does LogRhythm really do, and what do we call it? What LogRhythm does is we have a technique that we call threat lifecycle management. It's all about reducing the time to detect and the time to respond inside the organization. If we can do this, we can reduce the amount of damage that can be caused by a cyber attack inside your organization. Now, before I get too far in, let's take a quick look and let's look at some of the cyber threats that have been happening since about 2006 almost up to current. Really shouldn't surprise you, but what you can see is year over year, you can see breaches are going up exponentially just about, and just the scope of those attacks are getting larger and larger. Primarily, people are going after personal information and also corporate type of information as well. From what we've seen from the past up to now, there's basically no end in sight. And the reason there is no end in sight is because there's motivated attackers that are out there attacking networks, getting this data, because behind them, there's an entire cybercrime supply chain where they can sell this information out there. And we continue to see the attack surface expanding on this just simply because of all of the Internet of Things and different devices people are using to access both personal information and corporate information as well. Now, the cyber attack lifecycle, or the cyber kill chain, many of you might be familiar with this. This was put out by Lockheed Martin, and it kind of gives us a blueprint of how attacks happen inside an organization. Initially there's recon and planning, followed by initial compromise, command and control, lateral movement, target attainment, and then there's an exfiltration, corruption, or disruption that they're trying to do. What's very interesting about this is that when an attack happens inside your organization, it doesn't necessarily have to happen all the way from the left. Because we have laptops which leave the organization and come back in, it's very likely that we can have an attack end up over at lateral movement or target attainment. So we need to be looking for different types of threats happening at each one of these points throughout the organization. Now, how do we do this? We need to do this by doing faster detection inside the organization. This is all about detection and response. The sooner you can detect something, the sooner it can be remediated. If you don't have good detection methods out there and it takes months in order for you to detect something, you can actually have very high state of vulnerability inside your network and a lot of damage can happen. If you can detect things very quickly and respond to them, you'll have a very low vulnerability footprint inside your organization and be able to respond to these things very, very fast. And that's the goal, to be able to respond very fast. Now, if we look at the industry, there's actually been a little bit of a shift in the industry of how they're doing things. Back in 2013, a lot of the emphasis as far as what IT was spending its money on was on prevention type things, primarily things like firewalls that they were deploying inside the organization. They were also doing some detection and response things inside the network, but it really just didn't have a big piece of the pie back then. Moving forward to 2015, we actually began to see a significant shift in this. We actually saw a lot more investment going into detection and response type technologies inside the organization. And projected out to 2020, we're actually seeing an even bigger chunk of detection and response technologies being deployed, which will, for the first time will actually be more than the prevention methods that people are deploying inside the organization. So it's a very interesting shift that we're seeing out there. Now, in your organization, what are the obstacles to be able to detect things inside the organization? And these are things that typically everybody is dealing with right now. Number one thing shouldn't surprise you, it's alarm fatigue. Lots of alarms going off almost overloading your security analysts. There's also swivel chair analysis, where we have lots of different systems that we have to look at and be experts on each one. We also have forensic data silos with information in different databases that our analysts are having to reference. And each one of those silos can almost become its own discipline in how to use that information and get value from it. All of these things are really leading to what we refer to as a fragmented workflow inside the organization that puts ultimately a lot of emphasis and stress on the analyst to be able to make everything work. And then we're also having a lack of automation inside of our tools to be able to remediate things that are happening out there. Threat lifecycle management, the way LogRhythm looks at this, is we actually address all of these obstacles, and the emphasis is about faster detection so we can respond to these threats as they're starting to happen out there. The way that we do this with threat lifecycle management, or TLM, is all about deploying technology, processes, and people that are going to help us to be able to do our detection and our response. It only makes sense that in your organization, you need to have the proper technologies deployed to detect things, processes of how things are going to be worked through so we understand what's going on, and the people trained on those tools so they can use them quickly and efficiently when something starts to happen inside the network. Now, threat lifecycle management workflow, just the way that we look at it as far as its end-to-end, we try to map this against what we call the time to detect and the time to respond, and you can see them right here. On the time to detect side of things, we're looking at forensic data collection as far as collecting all the logs and getting them into a central place where we can start to work them. Once we get them over there, then we can move them into a discovery phase where now we can have search analytics where we can start to see different things and look for things that are happening. We then have a qualification still inside the time to detect where we can do proper assessment against our alarms and our logs and understand the full scope of and understand if an investigation is really necessary. Under the time to respond side, this is all about investigating, looking at the true nature of a log and understanding if it truly is going to become an incident or not. Under time to respond, there's also the neutralization, and the neutralization is being able to implement a counter measure or a smart response, an automated response to stop something from moving on. And then all the way out to the right is a recovery phase where we can actually look at the environment, understand exactly what happened, perform the cleanup, report on it, review it, and then even be able to adapt as far as reconfiguring equipment. That's what we're talking about with a threat lifecycle management workflow. Now, what is a typical analyst dealing with right now? This is what they're typically dealing with. 8 different tools that they have to monitor, be experts in each one, and just really understand how things are happening inside the organization. This really is not an effective approach, and it puts a lot of pressure on your security analysts to be able to make all of these things work together. Now, at LogRhythm, the LogRhythm approach is what we're going to do is take all those technologies and we're going to combine them into a single pane of glass. By combining them all into a single pane of glass, now the analyst has one place to look to understand the scope of what's going on. He can do his forensic data collection, his discovery, his qualifying, his investigate, neutralizing, and he can even perform his recovery measures all within inside of the LogRhythm solution. So just a very interesting way to deal with this. Now, this is the LogRhythm's approach to threat lifecycle management. With threat lifecycle management now what we're doing is we're taking all those pillars that we had before and we're layering in all the things that we need to be able to work efficiently. Under the forensic data collection, we're giving you endpoint monitoring, network monitoring, and data collection so we can have all those logs together. Once we have all those logs together, now we're going to have log management of everything that you have inside the organization. And this is basically going to be an enterprise forensics data lake that we can mine and we can work off to understand the full scope. Also, what we're going to have at this point is we're also going to give you that security analytics that you need. And the security analytics is mapping across discovery, qualify, over to investigate. And it's really giving us things like user entity behavior analytics, network behavior analytics, and endpoint behavior analytics to understand the scope of how systems are being affected. Through the investigation, neutralization, and recovery, we're going to be able to provide you with the security, orchestration, automation, and response, or those SOAR capabilities that everybody is after in the industry right now. Now, what are the 5 differentiators of how does LogRhythm help us to achieve this time to detect and time to respond and be able to keep them small? The first one is machine data intelligence against the logs by normalizing them to understand everything that's going on. And that's going to help us across the entire spectrum. The second thing is precision search capabilities for the analyst to be able to search the logs and look for things and find things quickly and easily. The third thing is to give you a holistic threat detection across the entire network. Since we have all logs are passed through the advanced intelligence engine, and we'll know exactly what's going on. We can also do risk-based monitoring against it, where when our alarms go off, our alarms are actually going to give you a threat value, and they're really going to tell us exactly what's going on. And then finally, we're going to give you that embedded security, orchestration, automation, and response SOAR capabilities that everybody needs. Now let's dig into them just a little bit more. Under the machine data intelligence, these are all the logs that you have. And in your organization, if you look to the left right over here, under data collection, you can see I have access control, anti-spam, antivirus at the beginning. And down at the bottom right, I have my web servers, my wireless access management, and my wireless access points that are out there. All of those systems are generating logs. All of those logs are different. When they're moved into LogRhythm, we do a machine data intelligence or an MDI fabric against them, where we normalize all of these logs. We apply a classification to them. We give them a unified data structure. We extract metadata value fields from them. We do time normalizations. We do risk scores against them. So we normalize those logs and make it easy for the security analyst to understand what's going on. That's going to give you both search analytics and machine analytics right away. The big benefit to this is it's going to allow your security analysts to work very efficiently against logs that are coming in from all different systems across the network. We're also going to give you precision search inside the solution. Precision search is a couple of different ways. We allow you to be able to do what are called structured searches and also unstructured searches. Structured searches is against all the classifications and the metadata value fields that are extracted from logs. Unstructured searches is the ability to be able to search a raw log. Now, when a log comes in, it can be classified as an authentication log, and that's an example of searching for a structured search. But we can also add in a string value inside the raw log. So if I know I'm looking for logs associated with Bob for authentication, I can do structured, authentication success. Unstructured contains the words Bob, and I have a very accurate search. I can also do machine-assisted searches as well. Machine-assisted searches is the ability to be able to do drill downs on existing logs based on alarms that are being triggered and things of that. So this is going to allow the analyst to work very fast and very accurately against the logs inside of it. We're also giving you that holistic threat detection that you need across the organization, and this is with our AI engine. And all logs come in, and all logs are processed through the advanced intelligence engine. By all logs being processed against the advanced intelligence engine, this is going to give us that real-time user entity detection, network detection, and endpoint detections that we're looking for inside the organization. So the real key here is with our AIE engine is it's really going to allow us for real-time detection inside of the organization, and that's what you want in your SIEM. Everything we want it to be real-time. We're also going to do risk-based monitoring inside the system. Logs will come in, they'll be converted to events. Then what we'll do is we apply some risk scores against them. We even apply weights against them. Then what happens is when our alarms are being triggered, they actually have a value between 1 and 100, 1 being the lowest, 100 being the highest. By having alarms with risk scores associated with them, it's going to allow your analysts to focus on the things that matter the most to them. So they're working on the things that are really important, and that is going to mitigate alarm fatigue inside the organization. We also give you the ability to do that embedded security, orchestration, automation, and response that you need. And this is in the form of having a case management functionality built into the tool, and also smart response automation inside the tool as well. Very quickly, when an alarm comes in, you can create a case off it right away and start to track it. When that alarm goes off, also at the same time, it can be linked to a smart response, and the smart response can basically remediate something before it goes too far. This will directly affect the time to respond inside the organization, so you'll be able to do that very, very fast. Okay? Well, what is LogRhythm's approach to customer success, and what are the things that we're doing to help us to achieve all of this? Much of this also goes against our LogRhythm Labs. Our LogRhythm Labs team, what they're doing is giving us all the strategic integration that we need inside of our products to be able to have all the canned content that you need out there. It's also providing us all that machine data intelligence information to be able to ingest logs and be able to process them correctly. It's also all of our threat research teams that are working to constantly add more content inside the solution, and then also our compliance research teams as far as adding compliancy frameworks inside the tool. Now, with the LogRhythm Labs, I always say what this is the security secret weapon inside the organization. It's LogRhythm. It's LogRhythm adding content, updating content, and pushing it out in the form of a knowledge base. This is going to give you user entity behavior analytic tools, network behavior analytics, endpoint behavior analytics inside your organization. We also know that we need to look at other data sources to pull them in so we can make sure that we don't miss anything. So we bring threat intelligence feeds in as far as sticks, taxis, commercials, and open feeds as well. What all of this means for you is it's going to give you that rapid customer value that you need, because a lot of the content that you're after is already developed and it's inside the tool. We just have to turn these things on, and you'll be able to have these types of security features pretty much on day one. LogRhythm Labs also contains all of our compliance automation that we have. So if you need to be NIST 853, NIST 171, HIPAA, or PCI, all of that content is there for you with rules, reports, everything that you would need. What's very interesting about this is that when you purchase LogRhythm, you have everything that LogRhythm can do. We do not sell modules. So you will have all of LogRhythm's capabilities, so you can decide which modules you want to turn on that you're going to need inside your organization. What this is doing is it's reducing the burden of your people to have a SIM tool and configure it for a certain compliancy standard, because LogRhythm has already done it for you, and we just have to enable that and get it turned on. Another thing that the LogRhythm Labs team is, it's providing a lot of out-of-the-box content and parsing rules for existing log sources that you might have. We currently support over 800 different manufacturers and have over 600,000 individual parsing rules. What this means is it means on day one that 99% of everything in your network is covered, and we'll be able to ingest those logs, process them, and be able to do everything just fine. For special custom log sources, we can still make custom rules in order to pull those log sources in as well, and our professional services team can handle and assist with helping bring those things in. Now, as far as support for customer success, we really have three pillars for this. It's our professional services that we have, and the professional services is out there, and they're helping to provide a lot of the foundations as far as the deployment and getting the LogRhythm solution deployed in the solution so the customers can use it and use it well. They're also providing another service that we call our co-pilot services. What our co-pilot services is it's basically LogRhythm helping you and holding your hand through the entire ongoing administration of the product to get the most value out of the solution. SIM solutions are very complex. Even after going through training, many times people need a little more help. That's exactly what our co-pilot service is designed for. Our support that we have is all customer-oriented, and we even do proactive calls as far as our sales engineering team will routinely reach out to our customers just to see how things are going. And then, of course, we have very good training, and training is directed towards the analysts and administrators for the particular roles that people are going to be deployed and using the solution. As far as our federal customers, obviously we're in DISA, we're in all of the military branches and so forth, and we're even out in the civilian agencies as well. As far as market leadership and kind of, what we're seeing as far as from the industry out there, we can see we have a few icons here of some of the industry analysts who have recognized us, also some company awards, and even our certification and validations that we've received out there. But one place that we always like to look, and we always like to look at where the market has evaluated us, as far as those companies that evaluate tools and they rank us against other people. On the left, you can see the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the fourth quarter of 2018, and you can see LogRhythm up and to the right. We continue to go up, and we continue to go to the right side this year over year for the last, I think, 10 years that we've been going up and to the right. The report on the right is the Forrester report that came out in the third quarter of last year, and this was very interesting because this was really a very critical evaluation of all the different SIEM tools out there, and we were very happy when they came back and said that LogRhythm is pretty much being rated the #1 tool out there, and those reports are available if you would like to get those from us. We have them on the LogRhythm website, and of course, you can go directly to Forrester or Gartner and get those reports there as well. Now, just to kind of wrap things up, why do you want to go to LogRhythm and bring LogRhythm in as your strategic TLM partner? The primary reason is focus. Security is all that we do. We don't do anything else. We're also extremely innovative as far as we're constantly adding more content into our solution as time goes forward. The LogRhythm platform is very scalable and very flexible, so whether you're a small deployment or a large deployment, we can grow as large as you're going to get. We have different ways to deploy the product to be able to meet that. We also have broad regulatory compliancy frameworks that we meet inside the solution, and you'll have all of those capabilities when you deploy. And then we're very focused on our customers. We understand that our customers need our tool to fill a very important space in their security infrastructure, but we're always trying to talk to our customers, understand exactly what's going on, so we're ready for that next big thing that comes our way. Okay, that actually brings me to the end of the overview. I hope you found this very informative. If you have any questions, please reach out to your LogRhythm sales team, and have a nice day.